Chapter 5 of The Adventures of Mabel by Harry Peck. This Librivox Recording is in the public domain. Chapter 5 Rex Plays Policeman. About a week after Towser had brought Rex home, Mabel rode out one morning into the town, instead of going along the country roads where she nearly always went. Grandma wanted to send a message by her to the iceman. When she reached the main street, she found great crowds of people there, because a regiment of soldiers was going to march through that morning, and everybody wanted to see them. There were flags in the windows, and the sidewalks were packed with men and women and children, all facing the street. As Mabel rode slowly along, suddenly Rex gave a snort. "What's the matter, Rex?" asked Mabel, patting him on the neck. But before she knew what he was doing, he had left the middle of the street, and was trotting right up to the sidewalk, still snorting. "Whoa, Rex!" said Mabel. But he would not whoa. Mabel was rather frightened, and looked hard at the crowd of people on the edge of the sidewalk to see what there was to make Rex act so strangely. Right at the front of the crowd she saw two men standing. One was a tall man with a black beard, and the other a short man with a smooth face. Both had mufflers of dirty red flannel about their necks, and they wore big boots. As soon as Rex got near them, he opened his mouth and made a rush at them as if to bite them. "Whoa! Whoa, Rex!" cried Mabel, pulling hard at the reins and trying to stop him. The two men turned very white when they saw Rex, and they tried to run back into the crowd. But the people were packed so closely together that they could scarcely move, and besides, everybody pushed forward to see what was the matter. Rex snorted and neighed fiercely as he snapped at the men, and they dodged and jumped to get away from him. Mabel kept pulling on the reins and calling out to Rex, when all of a sudden an idea flashed into her little head. "Dear me," she said, "the farmer thought there must have been two robbers who stole Rex. Maybe these are the very ones." She was fearfully excited. "Rex," she cried, "are these men the robbers who stole you?" Rex gave a tremendous snort. Mabel knew that she was right. She leaned over and pointed with her riding whip at the men. "Robbers! Robbers!" she cried. Just then two big policemen came running down the middle of the street to see what the matter was. They saw a great black horse holding a tall man by the coat, and another man struggling to get away through the crowd. The policemen rushed up to Rex and seized him by the bridle. "Here, here, little girl," they said. "What's the matter with your horse? Who let you ride such a dangerous animal?" The two men struggled frantically to get through the crowd. "Oh, policemen!" cried Mabel, pointing with her whip. "There are two robbers. Catch them quick! Hurry before they get away!" She could hardly speak, she was so excited. The policemen rushed in after the men and seized them by the necks. "What do you want?" snorted the tall man, turning around. "This little girl says that you two are robbers," said the head policeman. "We ain't," cried the tall man. "We're good people, and we wasn't doing nothing but just standing here peaceable when her old horse tried to bite us. You ain't going to arrest us because a horse tried to bite us, are you?" "They are robbers," cried Mabel. "I know they are. They stole my horse a week ago, and that's why he tried to bite them just now." "Did you ever see them before?" asked the policeman. "No," said Mabel. "Then how do you know that they are the men who stole the horse?" "Because Rex, that's the horse, said so," answered Mabel. The policeman laughed and looked doubtful. "We can't arrest them because the horse said so," said the head policeman. Just then the other policeman, who had been feeling of the short man's coat, put his hand down into the pocket of it. "What's this?" said the policeman, as he pulled out a long knife and an iron tool called a jimmy, such as robbers use to break into houses. Both men turned very pale. I found this just now in the street," said one of them, very much confused. "You did, eh?" said the head policeman. "Well, it's unlucky to find things like that. I'll have to take you to the judge anyway, and see what he says. Come along, little girl." So Mabel rode along, following the policemen, who dragged the two men with them by their coat collars. Pretty soon they reached the courthouse, and then four more policemen came out to meet them. One of them helped Mabel down, and said that he would hold Rex while Mabel went in to where the judge was. The judge was a fine-looking old gentleman, who sat high up on a kind of throne. There were two men at a table in front of him, writing, and 10 policemen stood with their backs against the wall, ready to do anything that the judge wanted done. The head policeman went up to the judge and told him what Mabel had said, and showed him the knife and the jimmy. The judge looked keenly at the 2 men, and then called Mabel up beside him. He spoke to her in a very kind, gentle voice. "What's your name, little girl?" he asked. "Mabel." "Well, Mabel, so you think that these men are the ones who stole your horse, do you?" "Oh, yes, sir, I am sure of it. When I asked Rex, he neighed ever so loud, and that meant yes. And the farmer said that the footprints in our yard after Rex was stolen showed that there were just 2 robbers." Then she told him all about the robbery, and how Towser had brought Rex home again. The judge smiled. "That's a curious sort of story," said he. Then he turned to the 2 men and asked, "You say you are honest men, do you?" "Oh, yes, your honor," said they both. "We are good, honest men, and live very quietly in our own house." "Where's your house?" asked the judge, and they told him. "Well," said the judge to the head policeman, "you lock these men up for a little while till I can decide what to do." When they had been taken away, he told Mabel to sit down, and then he sent 4 policemen to find the men's house and to do some things that he told them in a whisper, so that Mabel couldn't hear. "Now," he said to Mabel, "you go into my office and wait till the policemen come back. I'll have some lunch sent in for you, as you must be hungry." So Mabel sat in the judge's office for 2 or 3 hours, and a man brought her a glass of milk and a chicken sandwich, and 2 nice long chocolate eclairs, that were so good that Mabel was glad that she had had to wait. After a while the 4 policemen came back, each with a great bag. Then the judge called Mabel into the courtroom, and the head policeman brought the 2 men out of the place where they had been locked up. When they came before the judge, Mabel saw that they had iron handcuffs on their wrists. They looked very angry. "Now," said the judge, "you say that you are good men, do you, and not robbers?" "Oh, yes, your honor," cried they both. "We're good, honest men, and never stole in our lives." Then the judge motioned to a policeman, and he brought the 4 big bags and emptied them out upon the floor. There were gold watches, and diamond rings, and bracelets, and silver forks and spoons, and long pieces of lace, and strings of pearls, and a great many other fine things. All of them fell out of the bags in a heap on the floor in front of the judge. "Where did these come from?" asked the judge. "From the men's house," said one of the policemen. "We found them in the cellar, and some of them are marked with the name of the jeweler who was robbed last week, and some of them show the name of a person who was robbed here a month ago." "Now," said the judge to the men, "where did you get these things?" The men both hung their heads and had nothing to say. "Perhaps you found these, too, in the road?" said the head policeman. "There's something more still, sir," said one of the other policemen to the judge. "We questioned the people who live near the robbers' house, and they said that a week ago they saw a black horse, just like this little girl's, tied to a tree in the back yard all one afternoon." "It's a clear case," said the judge. "Take these men back to the cell, and next week they shall be tried and sent to prison." Then he took Mabel up on his knee and patted her head. "Do you know," he said, "that you and your horse have caught 2 robbers whom all the policemen in the town have been trying to catch for a year, and never could do it? You are a very wonderful little girl, and your horse is a very wonderful horse. Good-bye now." Then he put her down, and the 4 policemen went ahead of her to the door, while the 10 policemen all marched after her. They put her on Rex's back, and as she rode off she waved her whip to them, and all 14 of them stood in line and saluted her with their clubs. End of chapter 5.